Can't praise him enough. And tonight's topic, we're going to go into our redemption with his blood. These topics are hot topics, man, because it's basically showing us how to get right with the Most High. A lot of our people don't understand the magnitude of the scriptures. They see it for just being a book, and it's not just a book. It's a historical book. It's a book on salvation and redemption. We have to understand what that redemption means. Okay? So we're going to start off with Colossians. And again, this is going out to the 12 tribes of Israel. Blessings upon Israel. Keep us away from the hands of the enemies, Most High, for they have had their reign against us for way too long already, Abanawa. We ask, Most High, that you protect us, Abanawa, on this day and throughout our lives as we grow in this truth. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by HAMASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, giving thanks to the Father by him. Everything we do is by the Father and the Son. All right. Well, first thing first, let's go to Jeremiah 51 and 8. Because I was talking with a lady yesterday. It's funny when you're out in the world, you talk to different people. I talk to everybody, and you can gather a little information from this person, from that person, this person. When you talk and you search it. And sometimes it's a hit or miss when you talk to some people. Some people don't want to talk. And when you're talking to them, you always want to, jump around a little bit to see if they can connect. And when you connect and you start talking in a major way. You start finding out about that person a little bit more, And a lot of brothers have the intuition, and even sisters, of figuring out a person in less than 5 minutes of the conversation. That's a good knack to have. By talking to a person, you can figure out what they're about in less than 5 minutes. Okay, so, it just takes understanding to understand people. We gotta understand we're the generator that generates everybody else. So we got to figure out how these other nations think on a regular day-to-day basis by engaging them in conversation, okay? Whether it's intellectual conversation or whatever it may be, just to understand where their mindset is. And you can learn something, between the lines of what they might be saying. So let's go here. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 8. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, be she may be healed. Okay, this is a prophecy that's going to happen. When you read Revelation 18, it says that Babylon has fallen. Okay, it says it 3 times, meaning what? It was 3 Babylons. Let's go there real quick. Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. I started 2, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. Actually, it only says it twice. And the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay, so this is talking in symbolism. When it says every unclean and hateful bird, this is talking about all these different philosophies and things going on here. Okay? For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Meaning she fornicated, she played with this land, she played with this nation. All over the world she's fornicated. She's basically laid down with every different nation around the earth. All right? To spoil them with her dainties, with her philosophies, with her education, with her understanding. And it polluted a lot of nations. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. The delicacies are the spices, the oils. When you read further on down, it tells you, when you look at Revelation 18 and you drop down, and the very thing that is talking about the delicacies are still in existence today. Look at verse 11. We're going to read to 13. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. That's your exports and import merchants. For no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold. Gold is sold here. Silver. Precious stones. And of pearls. Fine linen. And purple. And silk. And scarlet. And all thine wood. Did you see wood? If you go to a lumber store, look at the wood that's in the lumber store. Look at the end of the wood. It's color coded. Every one of those colors on the end of that wood normally comes from a different state or a different lumber place. All right. Some of them come from Texas because of the trees. There's more trees down in certain parts of East Texas or Louisiana. And some of the trees up here coming from Oregon go down there to their Home Depots and their lumber stores. All right, so the wood is being transferred. Not only that, it's coming from parts of the Middle East. You got wood coming from Asia. Okay, so you got to understand this: teak wood and so forth. Okay, this is and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood. There it is again. And of brass and iron and marble. All these things are in your raw materials that we have here in America. And cinnamon and odors and ointments, including medicines is in that, and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beast. Right? You look at your zoos. All those animals are not from America. Those are not indigenous animals. Most of those animals are from other countries. And sheep and horses, all right, and chariots. Those are cars coming from China, coming from North Korea, IKEA. I mean, not IKEA. What's some of these cars they got? Got all these different cars, Honda and Hyundai, right? They got ships with Hyundai's name on it. It says, and slaves and souls of men. So you got slaves here too, right? So when you look at this, the very thing that you see when it says Babylon the Great has fallen, it's talking about this place. It's a prophecy. Okay, so for anybody to say that this place is not in the Bible, this is not the Babylon that's in the Bible, they're crazy. Okay, you got to think about that. Let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 51 and 7. Verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. So where you Negroes going to go? Where you Latinos going to go? Where's your country? Because you look at the Filipinos. Do they have a country? Most of them come over here to work, and when they retire, they go back to the Philippines. They got, right now in the Philippines, like I said, I was talking to a lady from the Philippines, and she was telling me in that land, it's so overcrowded that you could barely walk in some of those cities right now because people are coming here, they're making a living, making the money, sending it back home, sending money to build houses back home, and now they got all kinds of houses being built in that place on top of mountains. So they're cutting all the trees, all the forest land that they used to have, all the trees are being cut down. And you got houses being replacing those trees. So they're not cutting down trees and replacing them with more trees, planting more trees. They're just cutting the trees down to build houses. And what's happening is when you see these floods going on over there, and you see all these floods washing down these houses, coming down these muddy mountains, is because that's where trees used to be. Trees used to hold those mountains in place. But now all those trees are washed away. All right? But what you have is these houses are being built so these people could go back to their homeland. You got Indians the same way. They come over here, they go to our colleges, or not ours. They go to the so-called white men's colleges over here, They learn, get their education, and they go back to India. Same thing with China, Japan, Australia, all right? All these different countries. They come over here, they learn, they take what they can get, and then they get out of here. But us, we don't do that. The Arabs come over here, they all get kickbacks when they come over here. $28,000 and so forth. They all get small business loans. We've been here forever. We don't get nothing. Okay? So we have to understand when Revelation 18 is speaking, when it says slaves, we're still slaves. Nothing has changed. We're still slaves. Everybody else could go back to their homeland. We have no homeland to go to. Okay? That's how we know we're the Israelites too. Okay? It says, forsake her, let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Now what you have going on is we're seeing this country and other countries at its worst right now. They're all under attack by the ISIS and Muslims and so forth. Okay? Now by them being attacked, what's going on is you got fear in these places. And now people are wanting to leave this place and go back to their lands. Because this is going to be the very thing that kicks off World War III. Okay? So more people are going to come here and be leaving. They're going to leave this place. Now, you got some people who come here that are from those places and don't want to leave. They like this place more than the places where they left. And they decide to stay. Okay? They're headed for destruction. Okay? So we have to understand where we're living. You know? And being that we're here, they're going to turn on us. They're going to turn on the Israelites eventually. The very slaves that they have, they're going to turn on us. Talking about so-called white man and all his friends. When you read Psalms 83, it tells you who his friends are. So the whole point of this discussion is to show you how are we going to get redeemed when everybody else kind of has a way to get redeemed. How are we going to get redeemed? So let's look at the scriptures and find out. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now, I don't have to break down this verse. Most of y'all know what Egypt means. It means bondage. Because the real name of that land was Mizraim, all right? The son of Noah, the grandson of Noah. Okay, so it says, with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there, meaning this place, and all the places we were scattered to, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for slave men and slave women. So when you read Revelation 18, it tells you that slaves were here. We're still slaves. Okay? We're still slave men and slave women when you read Revelation 18. It says, and no man shall buy you, or no man shall redeem you. Meaning, you cannot buy your brother's freedom. You cannot buy him his retirement. You cannot put $1 million in his pocket and see him do well. Most of the time, our people, they lose that money. They squander that money, or the IRS come and get them. Okay? So we're not going to be able to be redeemed. And not only that, the brother's going to stay here in the Americas and live out the rest of his life here. You know, where we're destined for destruction if we don't change. So that's why it says that no man will buy you. This is the whole reason why HAMASHAYACH YAHAWASHI has to come back on the earth to redeem us from this place, because his Father sent us here. So who's going to take us out of this place? It's going to be him. When you lose your dog or you lose your cat, don't you go and look for your dog or your cat? That's why he calls us the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You got to come back and get us. You got to come redeem us from the vet or the veterinarian, okay, which is America. All right. So I want to take us to 1 Peter's. Let's go to 1 Peter's chapter 1 and verse 18. 1 Peter's chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, for as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things, as silver and gold, from your vain conversations, received by tradition from your father. This is not going to save us, no matter how much money you have. I mean, you can look at the basketball, football players. They got all the money in the world. They ain't saving themselves. They still dying at an alarming rate. They still catching disease. You watch them on TV. Well, we had 2 NBA professional basketball players died within the same month. Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins. Poor health. Poor health. Okay? They had all the money in the world. Couldn't save them. So we got to look at that. Okay? So gold and silver is not going to save our people. But what's going to save us? Let's read verse 19. But with the precious blood of HAMASHAYACH, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you. All right, so Yahawashi had to perish for us. He had to set himself up to be that lamb. You got to understand, he was prepared. You know, the Most High had him come on the earth, and they prepared his burial. Where is that? Where the woman? Remember when the woman was anointing him? Let me see if I can find. I think it's Mark chapter 12. Let's go to Exodus chapter 12. Exodus chapter 12. It says, this is verse 4. It says, and if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. That lamb was Yahawashi. We had to prepare him the same way. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up unto the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Okay? So, before they took it, they had to spice it up, right? They had to prepare it. They had to put herbs and all that stuff on it, right? So this is what happened with Yahawashi. The same thing. They had to prepare that for the crucifying on the cross to be slaughtered as a lamb. It's the same symbology. Now, a lot of brothers don't understand that are Old Testament Israelites, but that's the symbology of HAMASHAYACH. Okay? I'm still looking for it because I know where it's at. I just can't remember. Here it is. This is John chapter 12. John chapter 12, verse 1. John chapter 12, the Gospel of John chapter 12, verse 1. It says, then Yahawashi, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead. This is the same Lazarus he had raised up from the dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served. But Lazarus was one of them, and sat at the table with him. Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly. This is the best you could possibly buy. And anointed the feet of HAMASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, and wiped his feet with her hair. The sister had to have some long hair to do that. She wiped his feet off with her hair. And you know, sisters got that woolly hair, you know. Got that woolly hair. And the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then saith one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon, son, which should betray him? Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had a bag and bare what was put therein. Then said Yahawashi, let her alone, against the day of my burying has she kept this. So he's telling this man, look, she got to do this before I die. She's preparing me for what? My burial. She's preparing me for the crucifixion. Just like they did back in the book of Exodus chapter 12 and 3. All right? So This is the Lamb. We have to understand his blood is how we were all redeemed and will be redeemed. The blood is what the Most High always required of any animal, okay, for offering. So you think about that. Think about that. Every animal that dies, the blood is required of the Most High. That's a clean beast. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10 and 4. So when you look at Yahawashi, was he not blameless? Was he without blemish? Yes, he was. This is the same pattern, the same thing that we got to follow. We got to follow the same regimen. Especially during these days, man. Especially during these days. This is Hebrews 10 and 4. Hebrews 10 and 4. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins. Because these bulls and goats, our people, our priests, they were using these bulls and goats to slaughter for your sin. Now tell me this. If you go get a goat and you slaughter that goat, are you going to change? Most likely people are not going to change if they kill a goat. All right, for their sins. They ain't going to change. All right, and that's how wicked our people was back then. So he wants to see you internally change. Okay? It says, wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he says, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not. But a body hast thou prepared me. So our bodies are our living sacrifice now, today, in reference to Yahawashi's. We got to be the same way he was. Okay? In order to be redeemed, we have to be exactly like he was. Let's go to Romans chapter 12. And this is a hard thing for a lot of us, man. You know, because of the things that we're up against in this world. This is Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good, that acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. So you got to change your ways, change your thought process, all to be like Yahawashi. Our bodies are now a sacrifice. The blood in your bodies by fasting and praying is an acceptable sacrifice to the Most High. Okay? It's an acceptable sin offering when you fast and pray for forgiveness and ask that he walk with you. When you fast, your blood becomes a what? When you fast, your blood becomes what? It becomes pure, right? When you don't eat nothing all day, you fast all day. Your blood is pure because there's nothing in there. There's nothing, no chemicals in your body. There's nothing. Your body becomes pure. Okay? So we got to understand, when you go to the doctor asks, before you come in here and do the surgery, you must fast. Okay? Before you give blood, you must fast. Before you go to the dentist, you're supposed to actually fast before you go to the dentist. Okay? Before you have surgery, a root canal, or something like that. You're supposed to actually fast. All right? Let's go, because anything else can offset the medicines that they're putting in your body. Okay? It can offset it and possibly kill you. So that's why Yahawashi, you can't walk before the Most High with all this junk in your body. The Most High will kill you. You know what I'm saying? He wants you to fast and pray and be prepared for him. Especially on the feast days. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 58. People don't understand nothing about fasting and praying. They don't fear the Most High. It took me a while to learn how to fast, you know, but once I understood the concept, it became easy. You know, it's nothing for me to fast now. But when I first came to the truth, it was tough. In order to be redeemed, this is what we got to do. Learn to do it. You know, Isaiah 58 verse 6. Isaiah 58 and 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of the wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke? Okay, so now who are the oppressed? The Israelites. So we fast for our people, for the Most High to have mercy on us. Now you see Muslims, they fast. You see Christians, they fast. You see Buddhists, they fast. But what are they fasting for? It's all selfishness. They don't fast for the people. We fast for our people so we can get out of this oppression. Okay? It's not a self-gratification thing. It's for the Most High and our people. Okay? It's bigger than what we think. It's not like the world thinks. For nutritionists, for nutrition values. It's for our people. Everything is for our people. Verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. It's talking about our people. Then shall the light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Most High shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and thy power shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity, right? I mean, that finger could be anything. People flip you off with the finger. You know, they point at you too. You know, people point at you when you're doing something wrong. You know, it says, putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity. And if thou draw out thy soul, I'm sure they was flipping each other off back then. I don't think that's a new thing. You know, that sign language. That sign language thing came from somewhere. Probably started back then. You know what I mean? Verse 10. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. So we gotta stay focused. And the Most High shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. So this is the power of sacrificing your body as a living sacrifice for the Most High. Just like HAMASHAYACH YAHAWASHI did. He did it a lot. So we have to understand what this fasting is. Look at Esther. Let's go to Esther 4 and 16. And I know I've spoken about fasting before, but you know, occasionally we have to revisit this stuff because we forget. You know, it's the way the Most High created our minds. We forget a lot of things. Look at our history we forgot. We forget a lot. So we got to continually go over these different lessons, you know. And it may be tweaked here and there, but we can't forget what the Most High taught us. This is Esther chapter 4, verse 16. Esther chapter 4, verse 16. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. How many of y'all can fast 3 days? He said, don't eat or drink for 3 days. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. All right, so this is something she did because Mordecai was her uncle. He's the one that told her she needed to address the king on what Haman, the Amalekite, was doing. He was building places to hang the Jews. He had passed a law saying that they could hang Jews. All right, hang us. So in order for this to pass, in order for the Most High to hear the nation of Israel, they had to all fast together. See that? It's all about togetherness. That's why when the Feast of Dedication come, I announce it so we can either fast or praise the Most High, all with one voice, one tone. Even though we're in different locations throughout the conference call, we can still praise the Most High with one voice, one mind, one soul. Okay? Very important. But that fasting, when you come together with a consensus on what we got to do, you fast, and the Most High rewards. Like we read in Isaiah 58, He'll reward us. Okay? Whatever we set our mind to, if it's for the nation of Israel to bless us as a whole, the Most High will bless us if we honor Him and do that fasting and present our bodies as a living sacrifice. This is important because People are going to come up against us on our jobs and everything. Just think if we don't have the hedge around us. All kinds of wickedness that happen to us. I was talking to, I'm not going to mention any names, I was talking to a sister, and she was telling me about all the different things that had happened to her when she was a child. And she said, why did this happen to me, Brother Warren? And I told her, I said, because you didn't have no hedge. Your family's probably going to church, but they was praying to Satan. So anything that Satan wanted to do, he could do. Now that you're in the truth, you got the hedge around you. But prior to that, you didn't have no hedge. Okay? If anything happened to you when you was a child that you're upset or can't stand that happened to you, it's because you didn't have a hedge. Your parents didn't give you the ammunition to protect yourself. They didn't give you the tools to have a hedge around yourself. And those of you who didn't have that, you were blessed or lucky. Or not so much lucky. Yeah, we're lucky because you wasn't in the truth to get to the point that you are now without being scarred in that way physically. But there was a lot of you being scarred mentally as well prior to coming into the truth. Because you didn't have the hedge. Satan had full reign on whatever he wanted to do, he could do. Either that or you were just pleasing Satan. One or the other. Maybe you pleased Satan to the best of your ability back then. And Satan allowed you to get away with certain things. You know, so you have to understand, now that you're in the truth, now you have a true hedge. Now we have to speak together with one voice. Right? Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one. Okay? So let's go back, and I want to take us to, just think about it. This is one of the reasons why the Most High says this about the blood issue in our bodies. Let's go to Leviticus 19. I'm just sitting here thinking. Leviticus 19. Look at this. Leviticus chapter 19. And let's go to the 26th verse. Leviticus 19 and 26. Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe times. Okay, so what is this talking about? This is talking about witchcraft. You got, who eats blood? Just think about it. Esau eats blood, doesn't it? Does not Esau eat blood? That's who does it. He eats the blood. Basically, Esau's eating what? The life source. He's eating the life source. The blood we're supposed to drain. I think there was an incident where I was watching TV. I'm trying to think back. There was a guy, he lived off of raw meat for 5 years. He ate raw meat. And I think Vice, I don't know if any of you brothers or sisters ever seen Vice. There's Vice is getting pretty popular because they're going into these countries and they're doing investigations and doing documentaries on things, on the underground worlds in these different countries. So they found out about this guy who was eating raw meat for 5 years. And they couldn't understand why he was still healthy. Well, when they interviewed, I'll never forget, the guy said, he was an Edomite. Vice said, well, how are you surviving? Because if you eat chicken raw, you could get salmonella, poisoning. If you eat beef, you could get, E. coli poison, and all this stuff could cause, different problems in your body, heart disease and bowel movement problems, So when they asked this guy what was going on, how was he surviving, he said this, he said, when I eat raw meat, I'm specific with the raw meats that I eat. He said, I only eat the organs of the meat that I eat. And when you look at organs clean out all the diseases. It pushes out it's a filter system. It pushes everything out. So he would only eat the organs of the raw meat. He didn't just eat the meat. He ate the organs. Then he said he would only eat lamb. Which was funny to me because the Most High tells us what to eat what? Lamb. So Esau knows what's good for us and what's not. When you eat these hamburgers, and I love hamburgers, but hamburgers got a lot of fat in the hamburger. It's mostly 20% fat. And the brother was going over this not too long ago. And think about it. All these places, they sell meat by the pound. Most of that is fat. The Most High says He requires us not to eat the fat of animals. Okay? Here we are eating it, and we wonder why we got heart problems. We're not eating pork, but we're eating fat of animals. You know, a lot of Israelites go to drive-thrus. They eat the hamburgers, double whoppers. That very thing could be killing you. Not knowing what else is merged in that beef. Now, if you really want to get really serious about it, you could get your own grinder, buy you a steak and grind your own steak to make hamburger meat. Okay? But these are the things you have to think about. Esau eats the source, the blood source of animals. Okay? And that's a law that Israelites cannot do. And their systems, a lot of these different nations, their systems are built different from ours. Okay? They can eat things that we can't eat. That's why the Most High made us clean. We're the clean beasts of the people. Okay? Just like there's clean animals amongst the animal world. Israelites are the clean beast amongst the people. That's why I said anything that dies of itself, sell it to the heathen. Okay? We can't eat it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 9.
Hey, brother, can I?
Oh, God. This is very brother who I was talking to. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, brother. Yeah, you were talking earlier about who else eats the blood.
John.
So the Filipinos have a dish called chocolate meat.
Oh, yeah. Elaborate on that, brother.
Pig blood. With this pig blood that they boil, put little vegetables in it, maybe some pig meat, and because it's red, when they boil it, it'll turn kind of brownish. That makes it chocolate looking, and that's their dish.
Unbelievable.
It's called Dinig one.
That's the one I couldn't pronounce it, brother. Thanks.
Unbelievable. I said,
Marcel, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, brother. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yakwa.
God.
Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. And our people our people, when they want to make friends with a lot of these different nations, they go right on in there. They got a buffet, everybody putting food, the family members of the other nations, they'll take your plate and put food on there with a smile. Be like, try this. Oh, he's new to the custom. They'll put all that stuff on your plate for you to eat it. You'll just be smiling right along and eat it too. But you got to be careful. The customs of the heathens are vain. We have to be very careful. We have to be very controlling with with the foods that we eat, because our bodies are a living sacrifice. Look at Genesis.
Also, one more.
Go ahead.
The Ethiopians, they have a dish. You can get right there on Shattuck. It's raw beef. And they just kind of warm it and throw it on your plate.
Oh, wow. Well, what's the name of that dish, brother?
Brother, I went there. I couldn't pronounce it. I saw it. And I was like, what is that?
Well, you have to let us know, man. You have to let us know what that is, man.
I'll find out and text it to you.
Okay, brother. That's good info.
Right.
Good info. Yeah, we have to be very careful with these different heathens, man, because if you mess around, you be eating some rat tails, some squirrel lips, and not knowing what you're eating. Thinking it's some kind of delicacy that you like. Or thinking it's French fries, and it ain't. This is Genesis 9:3. Look at this. Genesis chapter 9, verse 3. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. For the Christian, they think that's everything in the whole world you can eat. Okay? That's not talking about that. Because when you read Genesis 7:2, the chapter right before it, it says, of every clean beast thou shalt take thee by sevens, the male and his female. And of beasts that are not clean, by two, the male and his female. Okay, so these are clean meats that we can eat. All the beasts that he chose, that by sevens, those are the meats that we can eat. And when you read Leviticus, he tells you what those meats are. Okay, so when you read this verse again, Genesis chapter, I want to say Revelation, I don't know why. Genesis chapter 9, verse 3, It says, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. That's not talking about everything. Because there was a law back then. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. Now you gonna eat poison ivy? So I mean, you gotta have some intellect. You can't eat poison ivy. You can't eat poisonous grasses or poisonous leaves. Tell the Christian that. Okay? So I mean, there's certain herbs that you can eat that's not poisonous, and there's certain meats that you can eat that's not poisonous to our systems. Verse 4. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. So the Most High is telling us when we kill these beasts, we're supposed to drain them of all the blood because the life force belongs to who? The Most High. Look at verse 5. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. So if you're eating pork, you know what require means? The Most High go kill you according to that beast. That's what it says, will I require of it. You keep eating that food, the Most High is going to require your life. Okay? So he says, at the hand of every beast will I require it. So that's why you pray over your food. That's why you eat clean beasts. So the Most High can't require it of you because you already told him what you was eating. All right? And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. So you can't kill your brother. Okay? A lot of brothers think they can get away with it. No, you can't kill your brother. Verse 6. Whoso shed of man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. Now, is that talking about all men? You go to war against another nation. Don't you have to kill in order to accomplish your goal of winning that war? Okay, so got to have common sense. So Esau turn around and say, oh, so you could kill your brother, huh? No, but the law tells you. You know, the law tells you who you can kill, who you can't. All right? But dwelling in this land, we have to follow all the laws of the land. We didn't just go kill people. You got to understand, we're the priest of all the other nations. Okay? We just didn't go out there and just kill other nations. We didn't do stuff like that. We were some of the most sensible people you could possibly think of. Okay? So, I mean, with Esau, you have to beat him at his own game. Esau is a snake. What does a snake do? Snake comes from the right, goes to the left, it twists. It never attacks you head on. It'll twist. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians chapter 15, verse 49. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 49. And as we have borne the image of the earthly, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. How? By fasting, eating the right things, keeping our bodies pure as a living sacrifice. 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. I mean, think about twinkling of an eye. That's before you even shut your eye. That's twinkling. It's going to happen quick. He's going to judge the people quickly. This is at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So if we keep the laws to the best of our ability, nothing can happen to us unless it's a form of chastisement. If it's a form of chastisement, you can overcome that. Somebody has something to say?
1 Corinthians what?
That's 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 49 through 54. So when he says you must be reborn as a child, he's speaking of the resurrection of not only spirit, but the body and mind. Okay, so we have to understand that in this life, we're gonna have all kinds of chastisements being in the truth. But the Most High set chastisements up to see if you endure. So if you do it, he will allow you to overcome. We can overcome anything. Okay? But the chastisements is going to take you low, and it's going to bring you back up. Okay? Just always remember that while you're in the truth. If you're not in the truth, you're not going to experience chastisements. You're going to experience the lash of Satan. Okay? That's going to be the true lash of Satan. All right? And so for a lot of our family members, they don't have the armor. This is Ephesians 4 and 23. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 23. And be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on that new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. Wherefore, putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. Okay, so this is what we have to work on, because a lot of brothers have problems with this. You know, so we got to pray, try to change, and overcome it. It says, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. And man, you see a lot of marriages not working out because of this right here. People go to bed mad all the time, angry with another person, you know, and you can't change them. You know, you can't change a lot of our people. How do you make friendship with those who do not put away these types of sins? Someone normally is someone who is always angry that has these problems. So how do you deal with them? No matter what you say to them or do, sometimes it's just your fault when it comes to these people. So what do? How do you deal with people like that? You know, they're always angry at you for no reason. Let's go to Proverbs 22 and 24. You got brothers in the truth like that. You got people in the world like that. You got people on your job like that. You know, no matter what was done, you may have even asked, hey, you might even apologize to that person. You know, I'm sorry, hey, it won't happen again. I shouldn't have never did that, blah, blah, blah. But that person's still angry with you. So how are you supposed to deal with them? It says, Proverbs 22 and 24. I started 23. For the Most High will plead their cause and spoil the soul of those that spoil them. Okay? So if somebody's trying to spoil you, make you sound like you're a bad person, present rumors amongst the clergy of your workforce, the Most High is going to spoil them. It could be a relationship where the woman is talking bad. I mean, you have that all the time. Women are slandering brothers, and you got, or vice versa, brothers slandering women. Okay, so the Most High said he's going to spoil them. Verse 24, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. So, I mean, you hang around with an angry man long enough, you're going to start picking up little traits that he does. Because you're going to think there ain't nothing wrong with you once you start doing it. These are traits. These are traits that we watch for and stay away from. Of course, there are different types of anger we have to understand. There's always different types of anger. You know, there's different levels to everything, right? There's different levels to love. There's different levels to anger, jealousy. All right? So we have to understand this. In the book of Ecclesiastes, when you go in there, it talks about how man, let me see it. Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. This is one of my favorite verses. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Okay, so I mean, oppression, when you notice the oppression going around and you've been reading and you've been learning about your history and you know why things are the way that they are, that's going to make you mad. Now that's a different angry, that's a different mad than the angry that we read in Ephesians chapter 4. Totally different. Okay? The other one, that's more insidious. That's more wicked than this one. This one is a just cause of being mad. The other one is more insidious, crazy, okay? You got a lot of people just crazy off their rocker. They just get mad at you for no reason, okay? But when you learn about your history, you get mad, you get angry. You know, when you first come into this truth. Look at Ecclesiastes 1 and 18. Ecclesiastes 1 and 18. For much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth in knowledge increaseth in sorrow. See that? Because you're sorrow because you're worried about your people. Your people are not listening. Just like when you read Romans 9 with Paul. What did he say? He said, you know, he looked at himself as a curse for his people because they don't want to listen or learn the ways of the Most High. Right? Look at Romans 9. Romans chapter 9, verse 3. Verse 2. It says, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. That's the same thing that we read in Ecclesiastes. You know, he increaseth in sorrow because of the knowledge that he learned about his people. Right? It says, for I could wish that myself were accursed from HAMASHAYACH, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. Now this oppression is wisdom that we get. The wisdom is much grief because we see the condition of our people. We see even the people that live amongst us don't want to change. That's a form of sorrow. All right? That's another reason for you to get mad. You can get angry behind that. Okay? Is that a righteous anger? Yes, it is. Christ got like that. You know? Elijah got like that. He said, I'm the only one. And Moses said, no, I have reserved 7,000. Okay? It's not just you. So, I mean, this is a righteous anger. Okay? So a foolish anger would be just the opposite. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 14. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 16. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 16. It says, a wise man feareth and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. So you got some people who are crazy. I notice when sometimes we're out there speaking, you get some fools that run up on you. You know? What you supposed to do? Sit there and just take it? No, you could protect yourself. They have a law called the self-defense law. But you have a right to say what you want to say out there. That's the whole freedom of speech thing, the First Amendment. Verse 17. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. Okay, so we're going to have people that's going to hate our guts for no particular reason, because what we're saying is foreign to them, when everything that we're saying is coming right out the Bible. That's why we don't lean on our own understanding. We lean on the Bible for everything. So they can call us what they want to, but we got to lean on the Bible with wisdom. Okay? Yahawashi had wisdom. When he dealt with Herod, did he raise up on Herod? No, he just sat there. Herod said, this man has done no crimes. What has he done? He hasn't broken no laws. So we have to be like HAMASHAYACH, the one the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. You know? Proverbs chapter 29 and 22. Proverbs 29, 22. An angry man stirreth up strife, and a furious man aboundeth in transgression. Right? Because when a man is angry, he's breaking law after law after law. He don't care. He'll hit you. He'll throw stuff on you. He'll say whatever. He'll break all kinds of laws because he's angry for no particular reason. He doesn't even understand his own anger. A lot of them are just mockingbirds following somebody else. You know? So an angry person will stir up conflict. So you try to forget something from the past dealing with a person like that. A lot of times this type of person keeps bringing it up. They won't ever forget it because of their ignorance. So how can you be redeemed dealing with a person like that? If you give in to them, you might turn around and do the same thing back to them. So it's not, you know, you can't give that person the same thing that they gave you in this world. Now, when we was in our own land, the Most High said, what's that verse? He says, so if you get smacked on the cheek, turn the other cheek. Now that's for our people. Okay, now if somebody come and hit you, that you got self-defense rights. You can protect yourself. Okay, they try to hit you, you can protect yourself. You gotta do whatever you gotta do to get that person off you. You gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the only little area that you have to protect yourself. Now, if that person do something to you, and 10 minutes later you forget about it, and then you turn around and go back and do something to that person, now it's on you. Whatever happened during that particular time, you should have did it when it was hot off the doggone stove. But when you wait and go back and do something to that person, now you are more responsible for what you did than protecting yourself in self-defense. Okay? Now I'm telling our people this because this is what's going on in the world. A lot of this is, all of this ISIS stuff is hot off the press. So a lot of this stuff is going to turn on everybody and anybody in different beliefs. Okay, so we have to be very careful of the people that we're dealing with out in the world. Okay? Proverbs chapter 29, verse 11. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 11. A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it till afterwards. That's what Yahawashi did. He kept everything afterwards. When he spoke to the people, he spoke a certain way. And then when he was behind closed doors, the disciples had to ask him what did he mean, what he was talking. He was speaking in parables. So people didn't understand what he was saying. You got to understand, during that time, the Romans were ruling. He couldn't just come out and say, the Romans are the devil. He couldn't do that because they'd kill him. They didn't waste no time. You got to understand, the Romans were assassins. They could take out your liver, your gallbladder, your stomach in less than 5.2 seconds. They knew how to dissect a man. It was nothing for them to do that. They could cut out your eyeballs, everything. But, you know, it was a time set. It's just like now. There's a time set. You still have to use wisdom. Just because freedom of speech is here, you just can't say what you want to say. You have to use the scriptures and speak it from the scripture point of view. You just can't say what you say because you could be held accountable for it in Esau's law. In his court of law. You have to be very careful how you speak. All right? We have to learn to become wise through the scriptures. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 13. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. And what Esau does, if he can't get you to turn around and hit somebody else, you know what he does? He starts to gather up information of all the times you said something to somebody. And he starts to make a list of it. And he might hold on to that for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. All the times you cut somebody out using profanity. All the times that you called somebody the devil and that person didn't do nothing to you. He'll build that up. And then later come out with an ordinance. And then when you say it again, now you done broke a law. Because that ordinance was made specifically for this group of people. So that's why I said you have to use the scriptures when you're speaking through the Bible with common sense. Let's go to Psalms chapter 107, verse 43. A lot of our brothers don't use common sense when they're out there on the streets and don't see what could possibly happen. We all know that the Most High protects us, but don't abuse the Most High's power. It's just like Satan said to HAMASHAYACH, throw yourself off the cliff and watch the angels catch you. And Yahawashi told Satan in Matthew chapter 4, what did he say? Do not tempt the Most High thy power. You ain't supposed to tempt him. Okay? Psalms 107, verse 43. Whoso is wise and will observe those things, even they shall understand the loving kindness of the Most High. So we have to follow the ways of the Most High to understand his ways. That's why HAMASHAYACH said, I do the will of my Father. You know what I'm saying? This is Psalms 19:7. Let's go here. Because the world is changing and it's changing fast. And just like they crucified Christ at night, they're going to pass laws at night. All right? The same thing. This is Psalms 19:7. The law of the Most High is perfect, See that? So you can't go wrong speaking the words of the Most High. It's perfect. They can't come up with no law against these laws. The Most High is not going to allow it to happen. It says converting the soul. The testimony of the Most High is sure, making wise the simple. Okay? So using these scriptures, you become wise. If you know how to wield the sword, because it is a sword. So you have to understand how do you wield the sword? By studying and meditating in this word and sacrificing yourself. This is Psalms 90, verse 12. Psalms 90, verse 12. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. All right, so we have to do this continually. Think about this. Look at, for example, our children. We're supposed to be raising our own children. We're supposed to be teaching them the ways of the Most High. We're supposed to have a heavy hand when disciplining our children. Now, because our families are unruly and the man is gone, now when the women rise up to straighten their children, what do these children do? Because they're not getting straightened or disciplined on a regular basis. What happens when they actually discipline their child? The child turns around and calls CPS on them. Or tell somebody, or tell their teacher, and the teacher calls CPS on them. So you can't be a parent in your own house because you didn't apply the discipline rules of the Most High at an early age. But you know what? As time persists, those children get older. They go out in the world. They mess up. Esau sends his police against the children. And what does the police do? Manhandle the children. Slam them on the ground. Slam them up against the car. Everything that they should have been taught at home, now you're giving the police the right to throw them around, which should have been taught at home. They should have got whippings when they was at home, when they broke the laws of the house. When they broke the laws of the Most High, they should have got whippings at home. But now all the power has gone away from the families, and the police has the power. I think I seen a video about 2 weeks ago where a police officer went into a classroom and took a girl and was just slamming her on the ground for being unruly in class, just slamming her on the ground. Turned over the desk in front of everybody. Sister, a Judah, tribe of Judah sister, had to be no older than 16, 15. He was just slamming her on the ground like she was a man. Why? Because that child was never disciplined in the home. So now you allow the police to do these brutal things to our own little children. And then they want to wonder why this stuff is happening to them. Because it's not being taught in the household. That's the reason why. It's simple. So we got to follow the commands of the Most High in order to get redemption. This is why HAMASHAYACH said, he that do the will of my Father will inherit the kingdom of heaven. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5. Yeah, this is serious, man, because like I said, you know, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on. You turn on the news, there's a lot going on. Sleeper cells in America. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. This is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspect, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. So even on your jobs, you have to be careful, okay? Because you have rights that protect you while you're in your job. You have attorneys for ethics. You have attorneys for different types of things that you wear according to customs. You have attorneys for age. You know, if you feel like you're being discriminated for your age, there's attorneys for that. So don't think that you don't have, if you're working on these jobs, you don't have anything to protect you. Okay? You going out there on the streets, like I said, that's the First Amendment. You have a right to go out on the streets and speak. That's the freedom of speech or expression. You have a right to peaceably assemble, in the act of free exercises of religion. You have those rights. Now, you can abuse those rights by doing certain things, but you also have to act within those stipulations of common sense. Okay? If you're in a religion, or if for us being in the truth, We have to react a certain way in the community. Look at Daniel, how blameless he was in the land of Babylon. Even when he prayed, where did he go pray? He went back into his room. He went upstairs. He opened up the window and he prayed in his room. Okay? He didn't pray out in the open. He prayed in a closet, basically. So you got to have wisdom. If you pray at work, don't pray where everybody can see you. You can go in the bathroom and pray. Okay? You got to have understanding and wisdom on how we do things. You know, some people walk around with their Bibles at work. You don't have to do that. People don't have to know what your preference is or what you do. Okay? They all could know you're an Israelite. That's not a problem. But when they don't need to see you worship. Okay? Now, when we go out on the streets, we're supposed to go out to our people and raise our voice, not amongst the heathens. We go amongst our people because our people tolerate that more than the heathens. We go amongst the heathens are the main ones that come up against you. Okay? They're the very ones that'll throw you in jail. Not really. Your people will throw you in jail too. When you look at Acts chapter 7, they killed Stephen. But still, Stephen was able to voice his opinion amongst his people and address it in another tone, a higher tone or a different state of mind amongst his people, because they understood that they were in that wrong, and Peter was addressing. They didn't like the correction that was coming. But our people are the very ones that need to be corrected. Let's go to Psalms 119, verse 27. Actually, let me finish reading this. Let me read 16 and 17, because there's some more meat in this. Ephesians 5 and 16. It says, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Most High is. That's how we're supposed to be. We got to understand what the will is. All right? This is why we must know him. People will stand for you and Christ if you just believe. HAMASHAYACH was teaching in the synagogue, and the Romans tried to get him. The people stood up to protect him because he knew how to teach to the people. He knew how to speak to their spirits, right? He knew how to address the issues. So when the Romans or the soldiers or the police came, they couldn't touch him. So we have to be just like that. We have to understand what it takes. Let's go to Psalms 119. Psalms 119 and verse 27. Psalms 119 verse 27. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts. So shall I take or talk of thy wondrous works. So he said, make me understand. He's saying, force me to understand the way of thy precepts. So how do we do that? By studying his law. When you study his law, you learn more than the ancients. Okay? You learn more than the brothers who came before you. Look at verse 100. I understand more than the ancients because I keep thy precepts. I have refrained my feet from every evil way, that I may keep thy word. I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me. Okay, so this is what we have to do. Learn thy precepts so we can get that everlasting life. And what is coming into the everlasting life? The main part is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. So we have to do this. Look at Revelation 22. For any of the brothers and sisters who say that the commandments are not in existence, Revelation 22 and 14. It says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. So anyone that tells you the commandments are done away with, show them that. Show them the last page of the Bible. The commandments are still here. We got to keep these commandments. We have to purify our bodies and walk with great wisdom and understanding. It's a lot, because I say it again. People are out to get you. Whether you want to believe it or not, people hate you. All right? It's just like brother was telling me today. People don't believe in the Most High, just like they don't believe in you Negroes. So they know that the Most High is black and Christ is black because they don't believe in him, just like they don't believe in you. So we all got to be what? Black. Israelites. All right? It's the same thing. That's why we're supposed to tell our people. It's a secret. It's a secret to our people. But we speak it publicly. Right? We speak it publicly. Let's go to John 18 and John 18 and 20. I wish we had more time to get into these scriptures, but the way that we all work, I mean, we all have jobs, and these jobs are a blessing, but they also tire us out so much where we can't even study the way we want to, you know, together. But there's going to come a day where this is going to change. This is John chapter 18, verse 20. That's why you have to make time. You can't make an excuse saying your job is the only reason why you can't study. You got to make time to study. It's like we read in Psalms 119 and verse 27, make me to understand your precepts. We got to make ourselves learn this word. Okay? John chapter 18, verse 20. Yahawashi answered him, I spoke openly to the world. I have taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whether the Jews always resort. Does it say any other nation? No, it says where the Jews always resorted. And in secret have I said nothing. So we're supposed to go amongst our people at all times. There's no reason for us to be speaking amongst the heathen. They're not going to get it. The heathen, we're not concerned about the heathen. We're concerned about our people. The heathen are not going to benefit from this until we get it anyways. What's the point of even talking to us? You're wasting your time talking to the heathen about this. It's about waking up our people. Okay? Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. And this is a notorious verse right here. Matthew 10, I'll start at 1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out, and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these, and all these apostles were Israelites. The first, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew. They're given the names, all of them, all Hebrew names. Thomas and Matthew, and the publican, Matthew the publican, he worked for the IRS. How's that? The Israelites receiving services, right? That's that IRS. The Israelites receiving services. James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebanus, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite. Okay, why was he called the Canaanite? Because he dwelt in Canaan. It doesn't mean he was a Canaanite. You have to tell the Christian that. He wasn't a Canaanite. He dwelt in Canaan. And Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. These 12 Yahawashi sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritan enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's who he sent them to. That's who we're supposed to go to. We don't have no time for the other nations. We got too much work to do. And as you go preach saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand, if they were saying it way back then, what do we got now? You know, the crazy thing is, there's a book that I have. It's called The Roman Sex Lives. In that book, it speaks about, I forget which king. I think it was, I can't even remember his name. But anyways, during his reign, they had changed the days of the calendar. They had subtracted the days. And I don't know if it was 100 years they subtracted, because he wanted the calendar changed to his name. So the amazing part is what I'm getting to here is saying when it says that for the days are at hand, we don't know what time frame we're really in. You know, we say the year 2000, it could actually be 1900. We really don't know. When you look at that, if you examine that, this man was so pious, he was so prideful, he wanted to change the calendar, the year, the whole year. Okay? He wanted to change the whole year to fit his name, and he minus some years because he hated the king before him, the years that he reigned. He wanted to basically just Xerox him off the face of the Roman Empire. So, I mean, you don't know how many years we're behind. We up here saying, 2020 is coming up. It may not be 2020. It might be 1920. We really don't know. That's why we have to walk with faith, man. We have to walk with faith. We do know that we are living during the last days. Anytime it can happen. Anytime. Verse 8. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Cast out devils. Cast out devils. So what does that say? Our people got devils. Right? Because the Gentiles sacrificed the devils. So our people are Gentiles in a devil state of mind. They're not in a Gentile state of mind. They're in a devil state of mind. All right? Freely ye have received, freely give. So you got to give to what? These devils. All right? Your people. Because the house of Israel been beat down, destroyed, and scattered. It says, provide neither gold nor silver nor brass in your purses. Why? Because if they had gold and silver, what's going to happen? They old people going to try to rob them. Okay? You got gold in your... Let some of us go out there and speak out there on the streets with gold necklaces, gold chains. Man, Jacob be trying to snatch them off our neck. See? Common sense, man. Nor strip for your journey. Most I want you to speak off the top of your head. He don't want you to have no strip. See some brothers speaking from the street. You're supposed to have this in your head. It's supposed to be from the spirit. All right? Straight from the dome. Neither two coats, neither shoes, nor yet staves. For the workman is worthy of his meat. Okay? So when it says no strip, let's go to Nehemiah chapter 8. Let's look at this. Nehemiah chapter 8. And let's look at verse 2. I started 1. And all the people gathered themselves together as one man in the street that was before the water gate. And they spoke unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Most High had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear with understanding, upon the first day of the 7th month. So did they need a script? No, they had the Bible. They're supposed to read from the Bible. Now, when you read from the Bible, people are going to come up and ask questions if they stand inattentive. Well, there's no reason to have a script. You're already reading from the Bible, right? Look at verse. Look at verse 5. And Ezra, he's the same Ezra that's in the Apocrypha. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was above all the people, because they stood up high. They had like a platform that they stood on when they spoke to the people. All right, just like a pulpit. That's where they get a pulpit from in the church, because they're supposed to be up higher than the people when they speak, so your voice could carry over the people and they could hear you. It says, and when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra blessed the Most High, the great power. And all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshiped the Most High with their faces to the ground. They were praying. They were humble. Look at verse 8. Verse 8. So they read in the book, in the law of the Most High distinctly, and gave the sense, meaning the common sense. They gave the common sense and caused them to understand the reading. You don't think they're asking questions? Okay, when people are asking questions, you're supposed to answer them. Whatever they ask, you're supposed to have an answer for them. Okay? So this is what they were speaking about here. What they're doing then is what we're supposed to be doing today. Look at verse 13. This is Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 13. And on the second day were gathered together the chief of the fathers of all the people, the priests and the Levites, unto Ezra the scribe, even to understand the words of the law. So they not only went out one day, they went out 2 days straight. All right? They didn't go out just on the Shabbat. They went out 2 days straight. And they found written in the law which the Most High had commanded by Moses that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month. That's the Feast of Tabernacles. So they didn't even know about the Feast of Tabernacles in the book of Nehemiah, the people that dwelt in that generation. They didn't even know it. And this is going all the way back to Deuteronomy chapter 16. They're supposed to dwell in booths. What is it, 16? Leviticus 23, where they dwelled in booths. And that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, go forth unto the mount and fetch olive branches and pine branches and myrtle branches and palm branches, the branches of thick trees, to make booths, as it is written. Now, where are all these trees over there today? You don't see none of these trees no more in Jerusalem. All these trees been cut down. They ain't there no more. It's a wilderness over there now. It's a desert in Jerusalem. Back then they had all kinds of trees. They had lions. You understand, there was lions all in that land back in those days. They had black lions too. Not just gold lions. They had black lions. All right? Black lions became extinct. But there was black lions just like there's black panthers, black German shepherds, black wolves. All right? There was black lions. All right? All of that existed. Okay? And all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths and sat under the booths. For since the days of Joshua the son of Nun unto that day had not the children of Israel done so. And there was very great gladness. So we got to remember the old paths. Just like our fourth. This is the importance of the Old Testament, because in so many generations in the Old Testament, you see how they forgot the law and then they came back to the law. They kept forgetting the law. Then they went back to the law. They would lose the book, go in captivity, and come back out and get the book again and remember the law, just like we did. We came into captivity, forgot the book, didn't know the book. Now we're coming back to the book. We keep doing the same stupid stuff over and over and over. So when are we going to get it right? This is the time that we're supposed to get it right, because we're going into the kingdom after this. So with that, Israel, I'm going to say shalom. And are there any questions? Any questions tonight? All right.
Hey,
Con.
can you break down the scripture for me real quick?
Con.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26 through 30.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I got it right.
Hebrews 10 and 26.
Yes, sir.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully after that, we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Right. So,
But go to verse 30.
okay. Verse.
The part where it talks about the spirit of grace.
Okay. For we know him that have said, vengeance belongeth unto me. Our recompense, saith the power. And again the Most High shall judge his people. Okay. So basically what it's saying, whatever we do, we're going to be judged. But right now the Most High has mercy on us. We have to understand that mercy, because while you're in this truth, have you not broke the law since you've been in the truth? Of course you have, right? We all have broken the truth, broken the law. So I mean, what does he say? He says, forgive a brother 7 times 70. Why is HAMASHAYACH saying what he's saying? Because we are going to break the law. Now, it says, for if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sin. So you're walking on a thin line, man. You go kill somebody and you know you're not supposed to do it, there's going to be a voice that you're going to hear before you do it. Right? It's going to tell you, man, you ain't supposed to be doing. So you you subject to Satan's vengeance, because Satan's going to ask for you if you break the law. You got to remember that. You can repent all you want, but it may be a punishment to serve. You understand? Even though you might break that sin, for example, Moses killed the Egyptian. Had Moses stayed there, because Moses was in the truth by that time, right? He had learned that he was a Hebrew. He learned that his people kept the laws. He killed the Egyptian. What would have happened if Moses stayed in Egypt? What would have happened? He would have probably
He died, right?
Yeah, he probably would have been put to death, or because he was a king or a prince, they may have stripped away his princehood. You know what I'm saying? They could have did it many different ways, but the judgment came upon him, so he fled. He fled, and he asked for mercy. When he came back, did they welcome him back into Egypt? No. So there's still, even though you are in the truth, and you're subject to breaking a law that you already know that you're not supposed to do, be ready for the punishment. Because the punishment will come. All right? And being that punishment is coming, you just got to prepare yourself for temptation. You know what I mean? And see yourself through it. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. Okay. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Most High, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure. And make not haste in time of trouble." Okay? So Moses made haste. He was gone. "Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." So you're supposed to cleave to the Most High even more. 7 times 70, you're supposed to be praying and fasting. Remember with the tribes, what was that, Genesis 49? I'm thinking about Reuben. Let's go to Genesis 49. Genesis 49 and verse 3. It says, "Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, the excellency of power. Unstable as water thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, and defilest thou it." Okay, so it's telling you, even though Reuben is as strong as he is, he did something really wicked. And the Most High, even though he forgave him, he never forgot it. You see what I mean? He never forgot it, because he knew the truth. Okay? He slept with his father's concubine, just like Absalom did with King David. You know, and what happened to Absalom? He was in the truth. Absalom got killed for it. Reuben was spared because he cleaved to the Most High. Okay? You got to remember, Reuben was one of the only sons of these men who was kind to Joseph, right? Because they really wanted to kill him. The brothers wanted to kill Joseph. Reuben was the one that stopped him. So we have to understand the Most High still showed mercy on Reuben. So you just have to cleave to the Most High. In the all, I mean, when you look at the whole thing, when you go into Revelation chapter 7, it tells you that Reuben is still going to be here in the lineup of the tribes. Revelation chapter 7 and verse 5. I'll start at 4. "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. So 12,000 is still coming out of Reuben. Okay? So we got, and as for Absalom, no children came out of Absalom. When you look at the son of David, because he was wicked. He rose up, he broke so many laws. He rose up against his dad. He rose up against his mother. He rose up against his mother, his stepmother, which was the concubine, and had sex with the stepmother. Reuben was wicked. I mean, not Reuben, but Absalom was wicked. Okay? So and not only that, he killed some of King David's men. So, I mean, there's a lot going to happen to him. I mean, it was kind of justified what he did when his sister got raped, but he killed his own brother. He wasn't even supposed to kill his brother like that. The judgment should have came from the priest. You see? The high priest were the Levites at that time. He jumped over the Levites to bring vengeance upon his family's name. But the high priest, everything is supposed to be taken to the higher courts. They were supposed to make the judgment on that rape. Okay? Just like Levi and Simeon. They went and slaughtered, what's his name? Shemek? I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of the guy's name, the Hamite. They went and slaughtered all of his sons, but Jacob had already made a consensus with this man saying that, hey, we're going to do this and do this, but, you know, it could have been the will of the Most High for Simeon and Levi to go ahead and kill all of those men that were being, after they got the, why can't I think? After they got their thing cut off, all right? When they got circumcised, that's the word. So you just got to think about that when you read Hebrews chapter 10. The Most High show mercy on whom he wants to show mercy to. All right. King David broke the laws. What happened to him? He took his firstborn that was born to that woman, but then he blessed King David. Okay, because King David asked for forgiveness of the Most High. You got to remember, King David, he's another one of our markers. HAMASHAYACH YAHAWASHI is one, King David is another. King David, he was a man of the Most High's heart because he had a forgiving heart. He always asked for forgiveness. He always forgave those. I mean, he could have killed Saul, but he asked for forgiveness. He didn't do nothing to Saul. So we have those two figures to balance ourselves off. Look at Moses. Moses was humble. So we got to be like all these people that came before us, man. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. If there are no more questions, we're going to stand and face the east. Amaya Wapanya Hakodam.
Took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.